Hey, what's going on, bikers? Pierce here with Electric Bike Report, and today we have Aventon Aventure Step-Through. This is a Class 3 fat tire e-bike that's capable equally in on-road and off-road riding. With 750 watts of rear hub motor power, there's not a lot of hills you won't be able to climb on the Adventure. Let's get into it. So earlier this year, my fellow reviewer Sam Gross reviewed the standard Aventon Adventure. We were very impressed with the results it yielded, and overall, this is a very similar bike to the standard predecessor. Obviously, it is low step, and that's one major change to the bike, but there are a few other changes as well. With COVID, there is part shortages, and Aventon is doing the best job they can to get you quality components, even if they are a little bit different. I'll dive more into some of these components and why they vary later in the review, but it's important for you to know that you may get some different parts from bike to bike due to COVID shortages. This low step frame is going to be good for those who are a little bit shorter or who prefer being able to dismount the bike a little bit quicker without the worry of a bar right there. Personally, I prefer the low step design on this bike because I know I can dismount and put my legs down really quick. So as you heard me mention in the intro, the Aventon Aventure Step-Through is powered by a 750 watt Bafang rear hub motor. This motor is really what makes the bike come alive. Whether you're riding a steep hill or trying to maintain an average speed throughout town, this motor has enough power that you can maintain the gear you're in, and enough power that the bike will take over when things get tough so you don't have to. Even though we knew this motor was very capable, we wanted to really put it to the test. So we went to one of the steepest hills in town and climbed it in pedal assist level 5 and with throttle only. This gives us a good idea of how the motor performs on its own and with rider assistance. So super impressed with the way this bike is able to maintain speed up this hill. I think the lowest I've seen it drop is around 17 or 18. Pretty impressive. All right, guys, we are about to conduct the throttle only hill climb test on this Aventon Adventure here. It held a lot of speed during the pedal assist level 5 test, and I'm curious to see how it's going to do without me helping it at all. So I'll be able to talk a little bit more this time because I'm not focused on pedaling, and I won't be going quite as fast. We have the bike set up as a Class 3, which means throttle to Class 2 speeds of 20 miles per hour. And with that being said, I am still pretty impressed with the speed I'm going. We're about to get to the steepest pitch on this hill, and I am about 14.5 miles per hour. That's a higher speed than some of these bikes ever even get up to. Dropping down a little bit more, around 12 miles per hour now, but it doesn't feel like it's phasing the bike too much. Sure, it's slowing down, but I don't feel like I'm hurting the bike at all. It's definitely powerful. Picking up some speed again right here. Yeah, so obviously you're gonna go slower if you're using the throttle only because it's Class 2. However, I only dropped down to like 12 as my lowest speed there, which is pretty impressive for it being around a 70-pound e-bike with a 170-pound rider without pedaling. So we just finished up that steep hill climb test, once in pedal assist level 5, the other time in throttle only. When I went up the hill in pedal assist level 5, it only took me 57 seconds to reach the top of our hill, and I had a staggering top speed of 19 miles per hour. Not only is the time impressive, the way this bike was able to maintain speed on the steepest part of the hill was also very impressive to me. This bike is above 70 pounds, and the way the motor is able to maintain that momentum really speaks number to the power it can produce. Now, when I did this test in throttle only, I got 1 minute and 12 seconds with an average speed of 15 miles per hour. This is equally impressive in my opinion. Reason being is I wasn't helping the bike at all, but I was still sitting on it. It made up for my 170 pounds of rider weight with sheer power. And because of that, as I mentioned, I averaged 15 miles per hour up that hill. Not only was the power nice, also having this 8-speed Sunrace drivetrain was also a great addition. While I didn't have to shift near as much as I was expecting to, the shifting I did was very crisp and consistent, and it allowed me to maintain the cadence when things got very steep. For a bike like this with all-terrain capabilities, I'm very happy to see a wide gear range. Between this 8-gear range and the 750-watt motor, this bike is more than capable for anything uphill, flat, or downhill. And for that, I do think this 8-speed drivetrain is a good choice for the Adventure Step-Through. So the Adventure Step-Through comes with a 48-volt, 15-amp-hour battery, which is actually quite large. Not only is it big, Aventon's done a very good job putting that into the frame itself with a very seamless-looking integrated design. Not only does this design add look points to the bike, I think it also adds performance. When you don't have that piggyback battery, you don't risk accidentally hitting the battery, falling on a rock, and you don't always have that battery pack near your knees. So, how does this 48-volt, 15-amp-hour battery perform? Well, we tested that in 2 separate range tests, one on minimum pedal assist and one on maximum pedal assist. When I pedaled the Aventon Step-Through in maximum pedal assist, I reached 25.43 miles with an average speed of 22.6 miles per hour before the bike finally died. Not only was that a pretty impressive range, I was more impressed with the overall average speed that this bike was able to maintain. I climbed plenty of steep hills, there was a lot of up and down, and so the fact that I got 22.6 as my average speed really speaks numbers to the way this bike is able to maintain speed overall. When we tested the bike in minimum pedal assist, we reached 47.46 miles with an average speed of 11.6 miles per hour. This really told us that this bike can be whatever you want it to be when it comes to the battery life. You can be on one end of the spectrum where you get around 20 to 30 miles going very fast, or the other end of the spectrum where you're very conservative with the battery and you get close to 50 miles. I weigh 170 pounds, and so you can assume the lighter you are, the more range you'll probably get on a bike like this. The heavier you are, the opposite. So as far as the Aventon Adventure Step-Through's cockpit goes, I think there are a few minute details that really set this apart from a lot of the competitors' fat tire bikes. One being this high-rise wide handlebar here. This handlebar really adds a lot of stability and overall handling characteristics to this bike. Reason being is the width keeps me stable on downhills and chattery off-road terrain. And the high-rise aspect of it right here really helps keep me upright and comfortable overall. I'm holding onto these grips here when I'm riding, and these are the Velo Comfort grips. They're rubber, they're decently tacky. There are going to be a lot bigger and plusher grips out there, but I much prefer the performance-oriented design that they've chose for this bike. I like a grip that I can really get a firm hold on and know my hand isn't going to slip. These grips are also lock-on, so if you want to take them off and put something else on, it is very easy to do. Moving along here, you have a controller for your display. I'll get into the display last, but this controller I really like. It fits the theme of the bike nicely, it's low profile, and it shows you pretty much everything that you need to know for controlling the bike. Next to that is a lever throttle. It's on the left side of the handlebar. I find this throttle has a lot of modulation, meaning I can just touch it a little bit and go a little bit, or I can completely full throttle it and boost up to 20 miles per hour fairly quickly. So I wanted to leave the display to talk about last. Reason being is I think this colored LCD display is awesome, especially when you take the price point of the Adventure into account. Not only does this display show you all the standard metrics that you need to know, like miles per hour, battery readout, pedal assist level, and distance, it also gives you really cool features like how many trees you've saved by riding your bike as opposed to driving your car. So far here at Electric Bike Report, between the two Adventures we've reviewed, we've saved about 5 trees total, and I'm not sure how they get that metric, but it does make me feel good that we're riding and kind of making a difference in this world. So here at Electric Bike Report, we conduct what we call a circuit test, which is a 1-mile loop with 4 right turns, steep hills, and some downhills. We do this loop in each pedal assist level to get a good idea of how each level differs from one another. What I've discovered with this bike is the Aventon Aventure Step-Through has a very linear power curve. Each time you increase a pedal assist level, you're going to gain around 3 miles per hour or so. When it comes to the bike's speed overall, this bike is seriously fast in pedal assist level 5, where I got one of our fastest times around the circuit test to date. I really like the way they've calibrated this setup. Reason being is I know what to expect in each assistance level, and I know how much the bike is going to give more power in each assistance level. Once I go up a level, I can expect, again, that more around 3 mile per hour change. Another thing Aventon's doing with this bike that I really like is making each pedal assist level accelerate quickly, but only to the speed that that pedal assist level is relative to. So regardless of if I'm in pedal assist level 1 or 5, the bike's going to accelerate fast, but only up to a certain speed. With that being said, this pedal assist setup as a whole is going to be a very seamless feeling one that shouldn't take very long at all to get used to. So the Aventon Adventure comes with 180mm rotors hooked up to Zoom hydraulic disc brakes. We put these brakes to the test by stopping 5 total times from 20 miles per hour. We then measured the average stopping distance between these results to get a good idea of how powerful these brakes truly are. So we just finished up our brake test. That was 5 total tests, all from 20 miles per hour, to really see how the stopping power on these Zoom brakes are. These are the Zoom hydraulic disc brakes with 180mm rotors, and it took us an average of 14 feet 6 inches to stop on average. Considering the 74-pound weight tag on this bike, I think that's pretty good. There is a lot of inertia to slow down on a bike like this, and if you ask me, hydraulic disc brakes are honestly an essential, especially if you are doing that off-road riding. So that 14 feet 6 inch result I think is very respectable, and it's easy to assume that that will vary a little bit depending on your terrain and rider weight. For me, as a 170-pound rider, I think that distance is more than adequate for this bike's utility. So by this point in the review, you probably know this is a good looking bike. It packs a lot of power and I'm pretty satisfied with it. But that still doesn't answer the question of how these components add up into one bike as a whole and how they handle. Well, if I had to use one word to describe the handling characteristics of this bike, it would probably be confidence inspiring. Reason being is I always feel like I can push a little bit faster and a little bit harder on this bike because of the components they've given me. Aventon really seemed to know that this was an all-terrain bike, and they've really made it purpose-built. Let's take these tires for example here. These 4-inch wide tires, these keep me extremely stable whether I'm railing down a paved trail at 40 miles per hour or I'm trying to stick to a line on a rock garden and on off-road trail. It doesn't matter, these tires not only add performance benefits, they also add comfort to me as well. One more thing on the tires is you have a wide range of pressures you can run in these tires, which really make for a wide array of performance benefits within these guys here alone. Moving up the bike, this 80mm Zoom suspension fork just took the edge off enough that I was able to stay online and still remain comfortable on the bike. Sure, there are bigger suspension forks out there, but I don't think that this bike needs a bigger one. When you combine it with these voluminous tires, it does feel like you have a lot more suspension than you truly do. This fork also comes with a lockout, which helps a lot when it comes to pedaling the bike on road or the bike pedaling completely off. So with that being said, I feel like this Aventon Adventure Step-Through really pushes me to go a little faster and corner a little harder, all while still keeping me comfortable and in control. This bike is extremely stable, and so far I've had a blast reviewing it. Between all the components, knowing how Aventon is as a brand, and the ride experience it's given me, I'm quite satisfied, and I think a lot of riders who want that all-terrain capability will be too. So with that being said, I really appreciate you guys watching my review today. I always enjoy getting into the nitty-gritty of what these bikes are all about, and I've actually linked my full written review on this bike in our description below. So if you want to know more about this bike inside and out, be sure to click that link. I go really in detail there. Next to that, you're going to see a like button and a subscribe button. It helps me out greatly if you hit both of those. And be sure to leave a comment letting me know what you thought of the video. I always enjoy interacting with you guys and seeing what you have to say. And you should also let me know what you'd like us to review next. So with that being said, my name is Pierce. I'm here with Electric Bike Report, and I'll see you next time.